I've been talking a lot about the importance of being a strategic player to a company, in particular in shaky job search season, when the time when companies are eliminating people left and right. How do you create job stability? Or if you are unemployed, how do you land that next job? I want to talk to you about 7 strategies to increase your chance of getting hired, getting promoted in a slow hiring season. Okay, so let's go into these 7 things. So the first thing is, the big underlying factor is that most people are focused on the tasks and the duties and responsibilities they had versus the strategic outcome and impact that they had. The former is what we would call a tactical player, and the latter is what we would call top talent, a strategic hire. Because in the midst of a time when budgets are tightening, purse strings are closing, we need to make sure that we are worth our investment, aka your salary. And so in particular, showing up as strategic is a great way to create job security and momentum in your job search. And it also removes you away from that tactical zone. That tactical zone, I like to compare being tactical is there used to be somebody who set up bowling pins. There used to be somebody who turned or lit the street lamps. Those things are completely automated and use machines. I just saw recently that McDonald's will have a non-employee location. So all of the food is made by technology. And so people are saying, oh my gosh, but I want you to remember, we've been moving towards this for a long time. So while I've been talking about this for 6 years at this point, I know right now it's on people's radar because they didn't realize how close we were. So we are here. And the only way for you to get out of that place where you will literally be like outdated, you will become outdated because you can be automated and perform much better tasks. Machines can do a better job than you can because we are human, okay? They also don't need rest, and they can do things with higher levels of accuracy. So what they cannot do is be strategic thinkers and be human. So that is the shift I've been trying to get you to go to, because I worked inside of one of the largest technical organizations that exists, Amazon, and I worked inside of a department that I am still sworn to secrecy of on some of what we did around artificial intelligence. So when I say this, the reason why I said it is because it's been coming for a while, but it's not too late for you now as long as you listen up. And I'll tell you about 7 strategies. Now, if you're joining me live, let me know. Let me know where you're joining me from. What are your biggest challenges in your job search? And if you're catching me on the replay, let me know your questions. Say #team replay. I look at all of the comments, okay? So the first thing is, when you are so 7 strategies to increase your chances of getting hired during a slow hiring season. First, you want to go look at the jobs that you are interested in. And I want you to be really identifying what are key strategic skills and qualifications required for the position, not tactics, okay? Going to a meeting, submitting a report, creating a presentation, all tactical. I can go and create a PowerPoint with a click of a button. There's an auto-generate design button inside there. It's been there for years. I can do that. That is not strategic, because if I can do that in just minutes versus spending hours or an entire someone's salary doing that, it's not a good investment, okay? So I want you to think about what is strategic. And the way to reframe what is strategic is it makes or saves the company money, or sometimes both. Okay, now I want you to think about this. That was tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to reframe your previous job experience and achievements to emphasize a strategic impact. Okay, so for example, if you were managing a project, I'd love to see you highlight how that project management improved the strategy of the project and the impact quantified that it had on the business goals. So were you able to achieve the company's goals? And what did you do to make or save money or improve time? Okay. Next is tip number 3, you need to be using strategic keywords. And so when I say, you hear me say the language, beat the box, that means you need to be speaking the language of the jobs that you're targeting. A quick and easy way to think about this is, like, people will say customer. Well, customer could be a client. It can be a vendor. It could be a patient. You need to be using the vernacular and language of the companies that you are targeting. So be really clear about strategic keywords and phrases. And so when I say, recruiting really today is now talent acquisition. That's the newest phrase. And sometimes, human resources has evolved into people or people operations or talent management. Just make sure you're using the right language so your vernacular is easily transferable. Okay. Number 3, I need you to highlight your experience in leading. Okay, so leadership is a strategic task. And so leadership, we would lean into ideas around how you led an effort to achieve a result. And so that's strategic decisions and guidance around a team, a department, or an organization. And guys, sometimes this is not you having the title. Sometimes you do this as what we would call like a promotion in place. You're acting in place of. So use that example. Don't wait for somebody to give you permission to promote the work that you've done. You need to really showcase that, okay? All right, next, I need you to include examples of how you've contributed to the development and implementation of strategic plans, processes, and initiatives. And again, this is not about like, okay, I attended this meeting. What did that meeting generate? What idea got kicked off? I'll give you an example. One time early in my career, I was able to hire 250 people in 6 weeks. We didn't have the space to onboard more than 80. We had to come up with a crazy plan. And I partnered with the CFO, with our training organization to onboard. And it was the craziest solution I've ever seen, even this much time inside of the organization, but I led that entire effort, even though I didn't hold a manager job title, okay? So we were able to hire 250 people in 6 weeks. If I looked at that, I could see how much the average hire was, and it was millions of dollars of headcount that came on board, but we were able to save so much time that created enough cost savings as well. So think critically about this, okay? Now, number 6 is quantify your achievements. So quantify your accomplishments, quantify your achievements. Instead of saying like, I reduced costs or, I saved money, I want you to say, I reduced costs by 25%, saving $500,000 in 2022 by implementing a strategic process for vendor selection. And you might go deeper than that, but that's a really great way for you to reframe. That's what I want to see. That's what top talent does, okay? And then the last tip number 7, is ensure that your resume is clear, concise, easy to read, optimized to be read, and then also quantifies your accomplishments, your achievements, and the skills that are most valuable based on some of that keyword identification that we did earlier, okay? So overall, the key here is to demonstrate your ability to think strategically. Strategic hire, not tactical, okay? Lead teams, initiatives, and contribute to the overall organization and quantify that impact. So if you are ready to see if you would show up as top 1% talent, I recommend you go grab my 5-minute 6-figure resume checklist. So if you're looking for your first, your next 6 or multi-6-figure job opportunity, you really need to be following these guidelines. And not only is it just a checklist, I recorded a training where I walk you through what I mean by each one of those things. And as a recruiter, what I was doing when I hired over 10,343 people. Can't wait to see your success.